Time to head back to the States as the Philadelphia 76ers wrap up their 2 Abu Dhabi games against the Knicks, falling for the second consecutive time. And we think the final score was 112-104.
If only we could know for sure, Devon.
Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Saturday afternoon, everybody. Look at the dedication as we come to you live from the Xfinity Lounge. We thank you once again for hanging out with us. Our show is presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. And we want you to hit that like button, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button to tell us how much we're doing a good job, and most importantly, how much of a great job Bree is doing producing as the president of basketball operations. Hit the like button. Derek, Kyle, I'm Devon. All of you, thank you for hanging out on a Saturday afternoon for meaningless Sixers basketball, even though it wasn't. We still have some questions that we need some answers to with this basketball team. And through 2 games, some of those questions are still up in the air. But we thank you for spending your time with us. It's a beautiful day out. Phillies baseball tonight, as you can see,
and
with
we're
Derek.
Stuck inside.
And we're here with you. The dedication, again, is there. So thank you. Hit that like button as you hang out with us. Before we get started, we also have been asking you to make sure that you get these subscribers up, because we were close to 50,000. Well, because of you, we are at 50,000. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all of you.
Great job, everybody.
Out there. And let's get that next 50 so we can get to 100 as we continue to build and bring the content to you here at the PHLY Network. And on tap today, WTF moment of the night if you watch the game, or this afternoon if you watch the game.
Quite a few of those.
You kind of know
Can't
where
wait
we're
to see
going.
what Devon shows.
Player of the game, certainly. And we have to discuss at some point the forward position. Specifically, I guess we'll call it the power forward position. But it seems like they can play both the 3 and the 4. So we'll talk about Barlow and Walker and what we saw from them this afternoon. But Derek, the shooting woes continue once again for this basketball team in Abu Dhabi. Maybe that'll change when they play next Friday, when they get back here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and at least in this one, like, some people were making shots from the perimeter. Like Tyrese made a couple shots. Malcolm Hill came in and made a couple shots and made it a little bit.
Go
more
get him
respectful.
out.
That's going to be the new rookie.
That's what Kyle said, Malk. So go get him out.
So it made it look a little bit more respectable. But for the most part, the majority of that game, when you're trying to really evaluate where VJ is in terms of being able to, really attack at a decent level in the NBA, where you're trying to really figure out whether Tyrese Maxey maybe made a jump as a playmaker or somebody who can carry or at least be a focal point of an offense. You're watching those guys, you're trying to evaluate those guys in maybe the worst spacing context imaginable with, just whether it's Bona out there, Oubre out there, Walker and Barlow aren't really shooters, even though Barlow made a couple in the first half. And it's really making it difficult to evaluate because, like, VJ has some deficiencies, right? Like his handle is not tight enough. And I think you saw that at various points throughout, especially like the first half when, again, they was really in a spot where you could evaluate him. And we're trying to figure out, like, okay, how much is that going to hold him back early on? Because I think he did some good things off the bounce. Like, I think one thing he does really well is, like, when he will catch that ball, and right when he gets it, he's already going towards the basket. Like, he's not giving the defense a chance to really rotate over. He's not giving them a chance, to slide their feet and get in front of him. He's doing a good job of that, but then the handle's a little loose. Like, he's missing some finishes at the rim. But also the spacing is a gosh darn catastrophe, and it's making it really tough to evaluate. And you hope that, George gets out there, Grimes gets out there, Joel, who's a much better floor spacer than either Bona or Drummond.
There'll be more pick and pop stuff that clears the lane.
A spot where, maybe his handle's holding him back a little bit, but it's not nearly the detriment that it currently is. And it is, look, this is mostly nonsense basketball. Please tune in to the 2 post-game shows we still have to do over the next 2 Fridays. But it makes it tough to evaluate.
Yeah, that game was pure slop, right? And it's also the other thing that's tough. Add on all your points about just spacing are really fair. I'm still going to criticize VJ for what I thought were errors or poor shooting. The other thing is the Knicks are running out their entire starting lineup, right? It's like it's Karl Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges against Maxey, Edgecombe, Oubre, Barlow, and Adem Bona.
Wish we had that problem.
Right. Like it's tough to evaluate maybe you could say that's 3 starters. I would argue that should be 2 starters from that group against the full starting lineup of a team that just went to the conference finals and also has the continuity that those guys have. So, like, that's a whole nother thing. So it's very difficult to be like, man, what did VJ show? To Derek's point, what did Maxey show as a playmaker? What is he doing? Because a lot of that game was spent with the Knicks in a 2-3 zone and just saying, we don't care to guard the Dominick Barlows, the Kelly Oubres, the Adem Bonas, and we're just going to clog the paint and we will dare everybody to shoot. Now, that being said, to build off of what Derek was saying with regards to VJ, you can see exactly what we talked about on the scouting report showing up already, right? Like this kid in terms of athleticism, competitiveness, and some of the instinctual stuff, right? Like I had a couple turnovers today that were a bit sloppy, but I think by and large has made good decisions with the basketball. But the shot is a work in progress. And I think more importantly for me, the thing that I really key in on with him is the stuff inside the arc, right? Where you can see where the handle holds him back. You can see where the pickup points, which is impacted by the handle, him taking off from too far out, getting closer to the rim, getting around, big men like Mitchell Robinson, like Towns, even like some of their bigger wings. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is a tough layup now, right? And not being on balance as he needs to be and missing some shots around the basket that he simply is going to have to make, right? It's weird because that's a thing that can happen to these downhill athletic guards that they just don't know how to slow down yet. It's a lot of downhill, downhill, downhill. But you don't see that as a playmaker. You don't see that in terms of him reading the floor as a passer. He plays at that speed, but has good decisions, makes good decisions with the basketball as a passer. And so that's what gives you hope that over time, as he gets acclimated to the league, as he, just adds some things to his game, more regular Euro steps, more regular drag steps, things to set up, moves, free throws, drives to the basket, that will come. But right now, there are going to be a lot of these plays where he turns the corner and he gets that initial separation from the defender, but he's not timing the help. He's not timing the attempts at the basket as well as he should, right? So not all that concerned. It's everything that we saw on the tape. And with more space, you'll see better playmaking games in terms of assist numbers. You'll see the good things shine through more. But let's be frank, he also airballed multiple threes tonight, and that's a problem. I love that he took and made another one in between those air balls, because what you don't want to see is, hey, I had a bad miss, and now I'm just refusing to shoot the ball the rest of the game. So I'm glad he kept up with that. There weren't really any shots the rest of the game that I was like, turn one down that I would have liked to see him take. But it was a mixed bag, and that's what's going to happen with a rookie. I said in my recap, what has really crystallized these first 2 games is that the path to being an impact rookie, very difficult for anybody, right? And so VJ is going to go ride the roller coaster a little bit, and the Sixers are going to have to ride it along with him.
He got us off to a pretty good start with how he played early. You saw the activity once again. He got fouled on the three-pointer from Jalen Brunson and made the first 3 free throws, and we all looked at each other like, okay, good start. And you like to see that from the rookie. Number one, as the ball swung to him because Tyrese Maxey found him, there was no hesitation in his decision of what he was about to do. And it wasn't against the shot clock. It was just a good look that NBA players take and hopefully make. And he got fouled and he went to the free throw line as a young guy and made those free throws. Then he went out there and unleashed a great closeout. Well, a little bit of a scramble from the Knicks. He had him a little bit off balance. Jalen Brunson, not known for his defensive prowess, of course. Knicks still trying to figure things out in Mike Brown's new system. Brunson was caught leaning a little bit too much, shading towards one player, Tyrese Maxey, and boom, as soon as VJ Edgecombe had in his mind that he was catching that ball, number one, as it was coming to him, he knew exactly what he was doing by attacking that basket and finishing the way that he did. So you love to see that. You love to see the three-point take once again. There were a few other opportunities where he got in the paint, as the guy said, and he probably should have taken, like we talked about in the pre-draft conversation, taking that extra dribble, giving himself an opportunity to finish at the rim because of the athleticism that we saw on that made play, where if he gives himself that extra bounce, he probably gets a much better look and shot at the rim, even against some bigger guys there. But his athleticism, whether he's swinging the ball around him to try to get the layup or maybe dumping it off to someone else for a finish, you like those. A few other passes that he made that didn't always result in makes, you like to see what the decision-making was from a young guy and finding whether it was a skip pass or something, someone cutting along the basket, or just making the pass to the corner for that extra pass that creates that open shot for his teammate to take a shot from the wing. Those were the good things. The bad, he missed some shots, and you're going to see that from a young guy again. As we evaluate him through the 2 games, similar to what we talked about on Thursday in game number 1, he just looked like he belonged out there, though. Even though the shots were not falling, I don't have the concern of, is he going to be starstruck out there? Is he going to be?
And we've seen those types of guys.
Yes, we have. Is he going to be a deer in headlights when he's out there on the floor? Kyle, Derek, Bree, and I, we all said to each other, man, he has no problem of basically displaying that he feels like he belongs out there. And I'm not saying an alpha in the sense that he's better than anybody, but he knows that he's an alpha of being out there on the floor. Tyrese Maxey's out there on the floor, and he wants the ball in his hands. He's calling for it. Kennedy Chandler, he should call for it. Yeah. VJ Edgecombe, when he's out there with him. But as Kyle had alluded to when I said the Kennedy Chandler part, Kyle was like, yeah, he also looked like when Maxey was out there, give me the basketball, because that's how he feels. So you love seeing those things. A couple of defensive lapses that just kind of cross again, but he's only 2 games in. He has a total of 4 basketball games from the summer league and these 2 preseason, where he still has a lot of kinks to work out. That he has 2 more preseason games to go before we get to October 22nd against the Boston Celtics on the road. Despite the poor shooting, once again, I just like the decisions that he made. Don't shoot air balls, especially from the corner. Not like that, because you could see it coming off his fingertips, that shot was going to be long. But it didn't stop him, Kyle, and you had mentioned it. You like the fact that he came right back and took another 3, and that's the one that he made. So overall, this is the time for him to clean up the mess. And he's getting the opportunity.
Reps in too.
Yeah, he's getting the opportunity. No McCain, no Grimes. He is the one that's going to play 30 minutes in that backcourt that matters. Yeah. Sure, Kennedy Chandler is probably going to suit up for the Delaware Bluecoats. Good for him. I'm sure we'll see him down there. But as far as VJ Edgecombe, the opportunity has been there. And what is he like? 5 for whatever from the floor, 5 for 20 from the floor, I'm guessing. Even with that.
Yeah, we have to guess because the box scores didn't work the entire game. Well, for 2.5 quarters of the game.
It did not. So even with that, though, I like what I've seen, and I hope it just continues to improve.
No, I think we've seen some really his pure offensive upside is going to come down to how much ground he can make on that shot and on that handle. Like that will take him from a role player to possibly much, much more. But I do think a lot of the role player stuff, I think he's shown good signs on early on. Like I mentioned, his attack and closeouts and using his speed and decisiveness to get really to punish rotations. And if that catch and shoot shot ever comes around, that could be a really big deal. I think he did a real good job of denying guys off-ball cuts. Like I think his ball denial, I think, was really, really strong.
Off-ball, he's been much sharper than on-ball, I think.
Whether that is, Brunson, I think Bridges, there was a couple where they tried to run him on off-ball cuts, and he was, I think, really, really attentive. And a combination of attentiveness and effort and just body type, I think he's been a more versatile defender than maybe I was expecting. Like I said, especially off-ball, because off-ball is, I think, where a lot of young kids tend to have problems. And I think he's done well there. I think the passing, that first play, they're running Maxey off of baseline screens. And you're able to do that because he is able to make that read and see that. I think he had another real nice one where he was running a pick and roll with Bona, drew in the defender, made the skip pass to the corner. I think that was on Barlow's first 3. They're just little things that he didn't show a ton of last year at Baylor that he is, are coming into his game maybe a little quicker than you hoped for. And they're all things that if he ends up making that shot, he is going to be a really, really versatile, well-rounded player. And I think it's going to happen a little bit quicker. Like I think he's actually going to hold his own defensively maybe quicker than I expected, because I do think the attentiveness is just such a huge deal. And him being able to diagnose that off ball is something that I was worried about, not necessarily because of him. It's just something people tend to struggle with. I do think the shot could be a struggle for a little bit here. And I think that's going to drive some fans a little bit crazy.
And so he was in foul trouble in the first half tonight. But 2 of those fouls came on plays where I was like, they're margin plays, right? It's about responding to NBA game speed, where in a month, in 2 months, those are fouls that he avoids and he's making a big athletic play, right? So the 2 I'm thinking of, he tried to deny an entry pass to Yabu. He actually did deny the pass, but I think he probably got him on the body or maybe a little bit of contact on the arm, gets called for a foul. That's like it's a bang, bang play. I don't have any problem with that. And then he went over the top of somebody for an offensive rebound where it was a foul. He climbed someone's back, and it's just a play where maybe in a month he's coming in from a different angle on the side and he's still getting the rebound because he's playing harder and getting higher than the other guy. And that's a play that he turns into an extra possession, right? So he's popping up in the right spots, right? When they talked about him in scrimmages and in training camp practices and different things, one of the things you hear consistently is he just makes plays all the time. Like he's all over the place. He plays hard. He's got this motor, blah, blah, blah. And he turns that into all kinds of different effort plays on both ends of the floor where the athleticism shines. He had one cheapie where he reached in. I think it was that Jordan Clarkson maybe? That's the one where when Derek is talking about the point of attack or on-ball defense where there's a little bit too much aggression compared to the off-ball stuff, that's the one you don't want to see. But in terms of the rest of it, I think you can already see him adjusting to this level of competition and speed. And I don't have many, if any, concerns about him there. So it really will just come down to, is he making shots and how quickly does he adjust to how he's finishing at the basket, tightening up the handle, and just taking that extra step, right? We talked about it in a different way, and Doc Rivers used to talk about this a lot with Tyrese Maxey, right? Where when he would take too many of those runners, Doc's message and the assistant coach's messages to him, Sam Cassell, for example, was get your hand on the backboard, right? I want your hand hitting glass because you took that extra step and got by somebody. You don't necessarily need VJ to get there because he's so explosive, but if he takes that one more step, he has the hops to get up there and dunk, get up there and take an easier layup rather than taking off from, 8-9 feet out. And all of a sudden Mitchell Robinson has made a rotation and you're having to flip up a tougher shot over a really big guy. So that I think will come. The shot's going to be the big difference maker.
The effort that he gave on that offensive rebound attempt when he committed that foul, I loved it though, because how many times have we talked about somebody go out there and go get the rebound, and you guys would praise, again, I bring up his name because it stands out on a basketball team like this one when you have athleticism in Ricky Council. You guys will point out, look, he's just going up there to try to get rebounds, whether it's reckless or whatever, he's attacking the glass and attacking the basketball, and that's something that you love to see. So a lot of good things, even with the struggles from the floor. He's a young player with VJ Edgecombe. You live with it when you have a young player still learning the game, especially the speed of the NBA and how that looks. When we come back, talk about Maxey, of course, and the two forwards, the two-way guys. How well have they played through 2 games Thursday and Saturday? Have they opened the eyes of the coaching staff maybe a little bit more? We'll discuss those 2 guys when we get back as we hang out with you. Saturday afternoon, playoff baseball tonight, everybody. It's going to happen. It's getting started. The city is buzzing. Not about the preseason game, about the postseason games. We're discussing it all right here.
About the Union game, right?
We'll get the thoughts later on those right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, there are some big baseball games coming up here, as Devon just referenced.
Huge.
You want to make sure that when you go to a friend's house, you're not walking into a clown show, because you need a good setup. Their setup cannot lag. It cannot buffer, because if you are a real sports fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination where you can find the best games and your favorite teams all in one place. And the way that you watch is next level. You've got all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. So clear, it feels like you're in the arena. On top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
And when you maybe celebrate something that happens in that game and you're excited with your people, you get up, chest bump, jumping up, you fall on the floor, celebrating with the kids, your spouse, whatever, your friends, your best friends. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have done that one because, it might have hurt my shoulder when I fell. Well, Rothman Orthopedics is the place for you to go. So whether it's celebrating your team's win or a big play or running along the trail at Kelly Drive or Lincoln Drive, stay off Lincoln, just the trails in the back. You feel like, oh, man, this little thing is bothering me. Rothman Orthopedics is the place for you to go get those things checked out. You can go to many spots that they have for you, proudly serving dozens of communities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and walk-in centers. 3 in Philly, Center City, Northeast Philly, and at the Navy Yard. If you need to go get checked out, please do so. Don't let the pain slow you down this season. Take the first step. Head to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and schedule your appointment today. That's Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, their mission.
Do you have any idea? You said that's a radio? You said it.
Oh, no.
No. You said it already.
No. I lied, though. I lied. That is a, dang, man. You put movies in here for sure. You for sure put the movies in here.
You put movies in here.
All right, that's our conversation with Trendon Watford on Media Day. If you saw our show on Thursday and we previewed VJ Edgecombe, and we've had Maxey, he's also going to be a part of this. So it's Trendon Watford. We have one more for you to tease a little bit later. Go check out all of our videos that we have up in the video section of our YouTube page at PHLY. Fun stuff with the guys on Media Day. You put videos in there, Kyle. That's what you do.
Put videos in there.
You put videos in there. It was a radio at first, though.
Yeah.
It was, and I shouldn't have said no. You said that's it.
Yeah, no,
because he said, all right, I
the funny
know I'm
part
wrong.
was, yeah.
I know I'm wrong, but there you go. You can put movies in there, and you can also watch old games in the past. You can watch some basketball games that you may have taped. And if you watch some film, as we welcome you back to the PHLY Sixers podcast. By the way, Phillies tonight, you see all the stuff that Derek has on representing the Phillies tonight. Don't forget, pregame, right before the Phillies get ready to take on the Dodgers and the NLDS. You got the PHLY podcast, the Phillies podcast as they begin. And you have right now, Tyler Zulli is going to be with you for the pregame, postgame coverage. Tyler, Bill Metz, Rich Hoffman, and Pat Egan, all with you. Tune into the best Phillies coverage here on the PHLY Network, PHLY Phillies podcast. Plus, Anthony Gargano is going to have daily Red October mini pods throughout the postseason. So if you want to hear what Cuz has to say, make sure you check that out. And as far as the Birds tomorrow, not getting lost in the shuffle, you have a huge Birds games tomorrow as they host the Broncos in town, trying to stay undefeated. A lot of questions going on with the offense lagging a little bit. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith still a little bit upset. You got some reporting from The Athletic that they're both a little ticked off. They're just handling it a little differently. So if you want to hear what Bo and Jamie have to say on the pregame show tomorrow afternoon, make sure you set in for that. They'll check in with you at halftime to let you know what's going on there. And then postgame, Bo, Jamie, Vinny Curry, all right here on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Make sure you check in with the Phillies and the Eagles today and tomorrow right here on the PHLY network. All right. The forwards, the two-way guys.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good through these first two games, giving us some things to talk about and to think about with that power forward position, despite Trendon Watford still out with the hamstring injury. And we believe that he has the nod in front of them as of right now. Still plenty of time. It's October 4th. We are, 18 days away from tip-off for the Sixers regular season. And those two guys, though, are giving you some good things to talk about as we get ready for game number 3 next Friday.
So Barlow has now gotten back-to-back starts, and you don't really need to read too much into that because a lot of guys are out, right? We're not expecting Dominick Barlow to get a starting nod in a real game. But credit to him for seizing this opportunity, right? It's one thing for Nick Nurse to say in a training camp setting, hey, this guy has looked good. And then you put him out on the floor against hostile competition. And it's like, I don't know what you're seeing. Game 1 was their best rebounder. I believe he's their only guy that got to double digits as a rebounder. Derek brought up his out of area kind of chase down rebounds have been noticeable. And today you saw him hit a couple of corner threes from the left corner, right? So I don't think any of us are expecting Dominick Barlow to come in and be a consistent shooter, right? That's been one of the main knocks against him as a potential rotation player. But I think if he ever gets to the point where teams regularly guard him, they respect him out there as a shooter, then you see kind of a vision for a guy who can play not just minutes at the 4, but even some big lineups where he's a big 3 that Nick talked about during camp. I don't think it would be crazy, right? Because he's got the size, he's got the athleticism. I think he's shown good mobility in terms of the defensive stuff, sliding his feet on the perimeter and then getting back and getting those rebounds on the defensive glass. Walker, a very different type of player, I think. A lot more of the slot drive, just like grown man strength, right? Yeah. He's got a smaller guy on him. I'm going to lean into him with my shoulder. I'm going to create just enough separation. And then I'm at the basket for quick little flip shot layup, or I'm going to get fouled. And he has done a nice job so far, especially today, as a driving kick guy, right? He had a nice drop off to, I believe it was Andre Drummond. Yep. He hit VJ Edgecombe on a driving kick for his only made 3 of the game. And so a little bit of, I don't want to say yin and yang, but just 2 different sides of what a power forward could be in that spot, each bringing something a little different. Very good options to have on 2-way contracts. If they had a guy who was like, this is your 4 who brings it all together, and these guys were your back-end rotation guys, I think you'd feel a lot better about that position. So we'll see if Watford adds a little something more, if he is like the souped-up version of these 2. But I feel good about those 2 right now, considering that they're not even on standard NBA contracts.
Yeah, I think Walker's passing might be one of my bigger surprises so far of the at least bigger positive surprises. We're trying to keep this. I think he drives and he plays bully ball, and he, like Kyle called it, grown man strength, and he gets to the foul line, but he's also driving with his head up, which for a power forward who's generally not the super skilled version of that archetype, I'm pretty impressed by. And a combination of, his rebounding throughout his career. I don't think he grabbed many today, although, again, we don't really have box scores because,
not his
2025.
It didn't matter. He got 20 rebounds today.
Yeah. But
somebody unplugged the
historically a good rebounder in his career. If he can then get to the free throw line, punish smaller players on drives, and keep his head up, it's going to be like, you're never going to have anyone that's going to be a everyday 20-minute per game guy from that group, I don't think. Watford maybe, but even that might be a stretch. But you're going to have 3 guys with pretty unique skill sets that you can then plug in depending on your need, whether that's what you need from a defensive perspective or what you need to match the skill sets that you have on the floor. And they've both been intriguing through 2 games in their own different, unique ways.
All 3 are very different. We haven't seen Watford yet, but those 2 that we talk about with Barlow and Walker, situational, because as Kyle and Derek alluded to, they're 2 different types of players. One is more offensive-minded when you look at Jabari Walker and say, all right, he can put the ball on the floor a little bit. He has some offensive game. He can put his shoulder into somebody's chest and create a little bit of space for a jump hook, a little push shot there, or try to just get a layup or a dunk at the rim, maybe even get to the free throw line, where Barlow is not trying to, but he knows exactly who he is too, where he's not trying to do too much to give the coaches enough let's get this guy off the floor because he just turned the ball over 2 more times, or you try to dribble between his legs when he shouldn't. He's just simply, I'm taking one dribble into a dribble handoff, set that screen, don't commit an offensive foul, and I'm maybe rolling to the basket or relocating to find a spot as a release valve in the event that something gets a little junky there and they have to just restart that offense. They know exactly who they are. So with the situational part of it, Nick Nurse knows that I can go to, if I need some rebounds, either one of them 2. But if I also need to make sure that I need to space the floor maybe a little bit more, or I need a guy who can put the ball on the floor, maybe Trendon Watford, Paul George are in foul trouble, and you need to lean on one of those 2, maybe he'll lean more Walker in that case, because he can attack a closeout and you trust whatever that decision is there. Where Barlow is, I'm just going to do everything. If I'm open, I'm going to shoot it. But if there's a shot from the other side, maybe the weak side, I'm going to go find some positioning on the offensive glass, and maybe I can get that. Kyle, we talked about it in the moment. He had a tip that he didn't get, but he tipped the ball to at least have it a live, loose ball for someone to get, and you hope that the teammate does that based off of the effort that he gave on a missed opportunity. So different types of players, but good showing so far from the two of them that if we've seen anything with the two-way guys that Daryl Morey has found with both Ricky Council, we'll get to Justin Edwards later, but Justin Edwards does have a standard NBA contract, is that it has worked out for a few of those guys. And while both of them already have an NBA pedigree of being in the league here for a little bit of time, that you see the skill set, you see the interest in both of them and how they can help out. When you have so many scorers on this basketball team from Embiid, George, Maxey, Grimes, and McCain, where you need those types of players, as we've talked about, that can just do the other things that can help you win a basketball game. And I won't exclude VJ Edgecombe in the scoring column if he is able to turn into that. But you need players that are able to do this and desperately need them in the front court to help out, to keep extra possessions alive, or to just simply secure a defensive possession on the defensive rebounding glass, because you just need those out there. Good showing from those two. I'll even just ask and extend this when we talk about Barlow in particular, because he's been out there, Walker's been out there, and again, Barlow knows who he is. Do you see the 3 position stuff that Nurse is talking about a little bit as a potential? Can I steal 3 to 5 minutes from him at the 3 spot with some foul trouble elsewhere, where you just need him to go out there and create some havoc and do the intangible things out there?
I hope not, honestly, but that's really just about he can't shoot, right? Or we don't expect him to shoot. If he shot the ball at like a 36, 37% clip, and that was, we could, money in the bank, you expect that, then sure, because I think he has enough fluidity as an athlete to move side to side with threes, and certainly has like the size and wingspan and all that to get the job done. But I don't see how you create enough spacing in those lineups, right? Now, maybe you could say if it's like 2 guards, PG, Barlow, and Embiid, like if he's technically playing the 3 and George is like the off-ball 4, nominal, whatever. But I would look at that as Barlow is your 4 in that case, right? So I don't see a lot of lineups where I think it makes a ton of sense. But he's making a case to play, right? Whatever you think of him coming in, he's making a case to play. Good job by him taking advantage of this opportunity. It certainly looks like they got 2 guys who are NBA players on these 2 ways. And that's an advantage to start the year, right? Yeah. So we'll see how the rest of the battle shakes out. If we're talking about the only way that I'm thinking about the 3 spot as it relates to Barlow, and maybe I'm skipping ahead here in terms of Devon's planning, but Justin Edwards has been so bad that I wonder if they're playing these multi-guard looks, right, where they're trying to get VJ and Grimes and Maxey and McCain all on the floor and opportunities shrink in the rotation. I wonder if Barlow and Edwards end up having overlap where like those 2 fight for minutes depending on the configuration. Yeah. Because let's be frank, Barlow is comfortably outplaying him right now, being asked to do different things and playing a different role, but he's just playing straight up better than Edwards is.
For the question of like, can Barlow play the 3? To me, that really depends on who else is on the floor. Like if Barlow is your worst shooter, then maybe.
No, but that's what I mean. It's just more of because Nurse said it.
No, I know.
So I'd imagine he'll be out there with other scorers and shooters.
The problem is when you start looking at who could play the other forward spots, you've got Kelly Oubre, Paul George, Walker, Watford. Like unless it's Paul George, which to Kyle's point, I think then you'd call Barlow the 4 and Paul George. It doesn't really matter. These are just labels. But it really depends on that combination and who they're playing with. And it really only to me makes sense with PG.
All right, Kyle teased it. We're going to talk about it on the other side because we need to. And Bree is telling everybody she had the cartoon figureheads up there. Hit the like button, everybody. Make sure you do so now. After the break, during the commercial, whatever, just hit the like button. Keep those numbers up for Bree as well. Justin Edwards. Don't know the stats, but it's probably like 1 for 15.
In 2 games?
In 2 games. We have to talk about it on the other side. As we said, we're not overreacting to the positives. We're not going to overreact to the negatives. But when you are behind now, the 2 two-way guys, because of the way that they have played, with all the things that they bring to the table, and the one thing that you're known for, I think you're like 1 for 10. then we need to talk about it even in the preseason. And we are going to do that on the other side as we hang out with you Saturday afternoon hoops. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll be back right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. 4 games today, everybody. The DSs, the NLDS, the ALDS. You know where to go if you want to place a wager, and that's Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And it is not ordinary here in Philadelphia with Red October. It's only one, and that's Philadelphia when it comes to Red October. You need to be among the 90 million users worldwide if you haven't already signed up to place those wagers on those games, because the MLB payout offer, if you're feeling good about your home team against LA, the team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout. You get that on straight bets, parlay selections that are marked as winners. Download the app and use code PHLY365. Just some quick numbers for you. If you're interested in doing so, right now, the Phils are tied for second to win the World Series in the futures bets at plus 500 with the New York Yankees. Dodgers facing right now in the NLDS. They are plus 360. They are the favorites. And for tonight, Philadelphia sits at minus 120 on the money line for game 1. So if you're feeling good about that, maybe some home run odds, Schwarber plus 200, Harper plus 350, Ohtani plus 325, you go ahead and head on over to the Bet365 to place those wagers. And if you do so, you will be a winner like us. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, if you're looking to get to that Phillies playoff game today, there's one place to be. That's the Game Time app, where you get the advantage given back to you. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just one tap. I tell you guys all the time, it's great because you pull up that screen, you can see the prices. I can see first baseline, third baseline, outfield, wherever it might be. I know that I'm getting the best possible deal, and I know I'm seeing the full price up front, not just part of it, because you don't want to get to the checkout screen, see all these fees coming in. Game Time shows it all up front. You get zone deals, so you know when you're choosing a section, but Game Time can pick the seats. You can save some money when you're trying to go to a big-time event like Game 1 of the playoffs for the Phillies. You get panoramic seat views from your seat, and of course, the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And then maybe you can afford to go to another Phillies game during the playoffs. So take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code PHLY, $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Devon?
Phillies game time.
Woo!
He's very good.
Yeah.
You kind of see it on TV, but it's different when you have to sit here and guard him. You know, the shots he makes, is, you know, you can. It really doesn't matter. The defense you put on him, he's gonna make the shot if you don't block it, basically. But you know, he's very skilled, very good. You know, he's a good leader. You know, him just being out here early before training camp, it kind of proves the point. You know, the work he's putting in and the commitment to the team he has.
Rookie Johni Broome on Media Day with Rich and I and Bree and Jamie and Julia, having a good time talking about some things. And in that particular clip, he's talking about the difference in playing in the SEC and NCAA basketball and going against Joel Embiid in practice. Make sure you check it out. Again, all of our videos, all of our conversations on our YouTube page, the PHLY Network. Make sure you check out the page. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast, where we'll talk about Johni Broome at some point because he was okay today. Not bad. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but we do have to get to Justin Edwards because it has been a tough watch for the second-year man out of Kentucky by way of Philadelphia, known for his outside shooting, and the outside shooting has not been there. The wind is blowing in the gym when he shoots the basketball. It is not falling at a pretty good clip.
I think the bigger concern for me is that I don't really see much of anything in terms of progress in his game, right? The not making catch and shoot shots in the preseason, whatever, right? Like, I generally believe he is a good shooter, or good enough shooter, we should say, that if he gets opportunities throughout the season, playing as the fifth guy or fourth guy in a lineup, Justin Edwards is going to make threes. The bigger problem for me is I don't know what else he does right now. I think he had a couple flashes defensively last year, but largely was not a good defender.
I think that was very overstated when people
It was like
that.
the first, let's say, week or two that he played. He was put on tough assignments. He had some nice possessions, but like by and large was not a good defender last year. Bad team context, so you take that into account, but I haven't seen much from him on that front quite yet. As an off the dribble attacker, again, not seen a whole lot from him. He had one good moment, Devon, that we talked about during the game where got to the mid-range around the elbow, drew a defender in, VJ cuts off him for an easy dunk, and like that was a nice sequence. But a lot of just dribbling into traffic, a lot of dribbling into pressure, and not really having a plan for how to navigate it once he gets there. So I'm not seeing the progress that I want to see from him. There was a lot of talk coming out of that building this summer, like, hey, Justin's in the gym with Tyrese. He's putting on weight. He's going to be a big part of the team next year. And, you take note of that and say, okay, there are some expectations for Justin Edwards. And I think just based off of who is left on the team and the lack of true wings that they have, they're a little bit banking on him taking a step forward. And I haven't seen that yet. I will say once again, he is someone that is probably more reliant on the stars being available than many of these other guys, right? He's not a Kelly Oubre where it's like, I'm a self-creator, and so if Joel and PG and these other guys are out, I'll just dribble and slash and attack the basket. That's not his game. But I have wanted to see a lot more from him so far. And we saw him playing deep into this game, right? Like on the floor as the time is running out with a lot of Exhibit 10 G League type players. To me, that is not a good sign for how he has played so far in camp or preseason.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, if your shot's not falling, what do you do? Can you leverage at least the threat of your shot to get inside? Really hasn't been able to get to the rim much at all. Every now and then, a couple dribbles in for a runner or a floater, but it's tough to build an efficient offense like that, especially when you're not shooting well. The defense, like Kyle said, and I agree with, I think he was put on some tough assignments. I don't necessarily think he held up all that well as the season went on, and people kind of ran with it, but I still worry about him. Like, I think he can be if he's your fifth defender on the floor, like, I think you're in a pretty good spot. And it really is with Justin, a lot of times he is going to look worse when there aren't stars to create space for him, and there aren't stars to take the toughest defensive matchups, and there aren't stars to really let him play the role. But man, he's just struggled so much to find a way to impact the game in a positive way in any direction these first two games. And again, you don't want to make it is just preseason, so good things you don't want to get get a little excited. It's okay. It's the first basketball we watched in a long time. But you want to keep that in check a little bit. Bad things you want to keep in check as well. But it's been if he would have played at least competently in summer league, I think maybe we'd be like, it's two preseason games,
right.
But it's a lot of struggles for not right in a row because there was a couple months break. But of all the games you've watched, it's just we haven't seen good Justin in quite a while.
0 for 8 in game one. We do know that. There was no score problem with the box score in game one. 0 for 8 from the floor, 0 for 7 from 3. At least for right now, what I see as I look, he was 1 for 4, 1 for 3 from beyond. He made 1 for 2 from the free throw line. So, 0 for 8, and now what's that? 1 for 12 and 1 for 10 from behind the 3-point line. Not great, but I do agree with the guys that when Embiid and the rest of the players are out there, Paul George, Quentin Grimes, even Jared McCain, that opens up so much. The only problem, though, is when you have a player like Barlow playing the way that he is, making the shots that he's not known for in the preseason, where the guy who was supposed to be the shooter is not making those, and you're battling you're on an NBA standard contract, yes, but you got there too because of a two-way, the same way that Barlow and Walker are sitting on right now and trying to impress the coaching staff in the front office, where they may take some minutes from you early on if you are not knocking down the shots. In these two, in the final two, I'm sure that I can't say that. I was going to say I'm sure that he'll get the edge in the first game. That may not be true, because if he struggles in games 3 and 4, then maybe, again, situationally, maybe the coaching staff will lean more towards, I need Barlow here for 5 minutes just to go do stuff because of all the other things that Kyle is saying he's not seeing. Maybe Barlow will put the ball on the floor and just make the right pass on that 1-2 dribbles to the open guy as the defense collapses. Or Walker out there more at the 4, where you keep somebody else at the 3 because they're playing better. And the next thing you know, that It's a DMP for a couple of games next to Justin Edwards, and we're saying what happens? How does he get back into the rotation? And that's going to be heavily reliant on, number one, him making shots in practice, and number two, the other two failing at not doing things with their minutes. So that's the other threat that he has here is, while it's only preseason, you're opening up the opportunity with the decent play from the other two, specifically Barlow, to take some of those minutes from you. And you have to be careful with that. Roster spots are precious, man. And if you do this, then you next thing you know, you might be in the same situation as Ricky Council.
I mean, he legitimately might have been the worst player on the Sixers for both these games. And again, doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to make a roster decision off of this.
No.
But like, if you started the season and Barlow was getting minutes ahead of him, you'd go like, yeah, I understand. I watched the basketball games.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. It's just something that he has to, again, not going to overreact, but I think we're reacting properly for what we've seen in these two games overseas and the way that they've talked about him from the summer, where they felt like he would be a really, really nice, decent jump, of course, for year number two. We'll wait to see and evaluate it a little bit more as the players return from injury. George, Embiid, McCain, and Grimes back as he meets the team when they arrive here in Philadelphia after today's game. So with that, Johni Broome, quickly, and we'll get to the Super Chats. Again, not bad. He was perfect from the floor. 3 for 3, I believe it was. 4 rebounds off the bench as well. He's not going to wow you with any athleticism because it's not there.
Yeah.
But he did play well.
I don't know why that hit me so hard. But you're right.
3 for 3.
Not disputing that.
No, I mean, look, 3 for 3. He knows who he is, right? He knows who he is.
You just broke Kyle.
No, I think the game broke me, and then Devon is slowly stitching me back together.
It looks like 15-plus minutes, Derek. 3 for 3, 4 rebounds again, 1 assist, 1 block for his 6 points. Didn't hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, who are you talking about? I was laughing
Johni
at Kyle.
Broome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lack of
no,
athleticism.
and I do think like he, I was laughing at Kyle. He made a nice hook shot where he like pumped it like 3 times, and it was like, hey, maybe I should just throw this up. And I do think there's a little bit of that indecision with him when he gets the ball deep because he just knows the athleticism isn't there. And he's second guessing himself a tiny bit.
Yep.
I'd love to see the shot come around like we saw in Summer League because that really is a pathway to him, I think, making a positive impact. But he's going to, and obviously like in terms of like blocking shots or like the getting off the ground is it's going to impact him there in a big way. But the rebounding, I think, is going to be there. The effort's going to be there. Generally speaking, I trust his decision-making, but to be a reliable offensive player, like he's got to make shots from the perimeter. And right now, nobody is, so you understand it, but it's got to come around.
Can I talk about another front court player, big man, if we're moving into the...
Oh, boy.
Adem Bona had 1 rebound in 20 minutes.
And it was all offensive. It was like he doesn't have a single defensive rebound.
So I've seen a lot of like when you are as too engaged with the Sixers as we are, and you're on social media and you see whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, wherever, TikTok, wherever it might be, right? You see these pockets of people who are ready to be like, Adem Bona's ready for that backup center job, and they see he made some wow plays tonight. Right, he had a great block shot. He makes some plays around the rim on offense. And you can see a version of the team where when Joel comes off the floor and he plays 15, 18 minutes, and it's like him and it's Maxey and it's VJ and McCain and Grimes and all these like young, fast, open floor guards, that he can be part of that, right? He can start the fast breaks. He can end the fast breaks, and there will be plays to be made. You have no business playing center if you can't get a defensive rebound in 20 minutes, right? And some of that is that he's going after block shots. Some of it is positioning. Some of it is just the hands, right?
Yeah.
Today it wasn't quite as bad as the first game where he had 3 or 4 just go right off his hands and into Knicks.
He definitely had
hands.
one, though, where it went right off his hands. I remember that.
But he is a bad rebounder, like straight up just a bad rebounder, right? And that would be a problem for him on a lot of teams. it's even worse on this team that already is going to be playing small, that already has rebounding issues. So, like, this is not to say that I want Drummond to play over him, right? I still would much rather give the young guy time, let him work through this stuff, figure out ball coming off the rim for angles, and got to work through that experience of challenging shots and picking and choosing and when to get in position for a defensive rebound. But the people who are ready to just, they're set at that position, I am not seeing that, right? And so if he doesn't clean up the rebounding, I don't know how you put a good enough rebounding team on the floor when Joel Embiid is not on the floor.
Yeah, I would love to say that he's not rebounding solely because he's chasing blocks or maybe because he's switching out on the perimeter and trying to stop. That's not really what it is. Like, we've seen 3 or 4 where he had his hand on it and he couldn't come down with it. And in the previous game, like, there was one where he was coming in from the perimeter and he just over pursued. He ran right by the ball. And there's angles that he's just not taking. And look, some of that will improve with age and experience and learning, how to crash glass and what angles to take. But some of it is just like his anticipation right now is not good. And his hands are really, really weak. Like, he does not, when he gets his hand on the ball, he does not have a great chance of holding on to it. And that's a problem when you are, rebounding the basketball. It has been frustrating. I think going to give him some time, in part because the other option has not been all that good either. In part because I don't have a lot of, and I think I'm being generous with it not being all that good.
He had 10 boards today.
He did.
Let all rebounders.
He also had a 3. We'll probably get to that at some point.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
But like, you do need more. And I like the energy and the effort is still largely there. And it's weird because usually that effort and energy translates into rebounding. That's usually where you see it. With Adem, you see it in almost every other facet except rebounding. He needs to be better.
He played too much basketball this summer. He needs
it went the other way.
He needs a break. He needs a little bit of a break. Not good from Adem Bona in 19 minutes, just under 20 minutes, 19:57. And Andre Drummond, 3 for 3 from the floor. Actually, no, he was not 3 for 3 from the floor.
We know he had a miss.
This is where it
the
lies.
Box score has not credited
This is where it
him
lies.
with the
But they
miss.
do have him at 10 rebounds, Andre Drummond, in 7
Wait, they
less
don't have
minutes.
that miss?
No, they do not. In 7 less minutes, he had.
No,
10
he definitely attempted the
fours down.
second
Well,
3. I
is
remember that one.
Is
vividly.
that our segue for the WTF moment?
Yes,
of the night?
let's get to the WTF moment of the night. Look at this screenshot, everybody. He made the first one, and we were like, whoa. He took the first one anyway. How much time was left? 14 seconds? 15
seconds when
On
he
the shot
released
clock.
it and made a 3 with a hand in his face. So then the next time he got a time, this was a more open opportunity. But he's feeling himself so much.
Was he?
He tried to do the Steph Curry turn to the bench. I'm running the other way. And dear listener, let me tell you, that shot did not go in.
Remember, what was it, Nick Young, who did the turnaround with his hand raised and it rimmed out?
And then it clanged out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an all-time GIF, by the way.
I love that
That's
one.
one of my favorites.
What got me about that, not just the turn to the bench and get a little cocky, like you make 1 3 and all of a sudden now you think you're Steph Curry, but like he was, who was driving down the lane on that one? I forget who it was, but it was pretty clear that the corner was open and he was standing there like 10 feet on the baseline, 10 feet from the rim. It could have been a dump off pass, 1 power dribble, and a pretty easy layup. And he's like, no, I'm going to step back into a corner
I didn't
3.
realize he stepped back into the
Oh my God.
Andre Drummond, I'm sure this won't be the last time. WTF moment of the afternoon.
Derek said too, I'll water it down a little bit. Derek's like, sometimes I wish he was a worse guy because I'd get more annoyed at him. But Andre honestly is like in the locker room.
He's a good guy.
He's like a
Yeah.
pretty pleasant guy to be around. It's like,
He just drives me nuts.
in a low stakes game like this, it still irritated me deep in my soul. But I was like, yeah, it's a preseason game and goddamn Abu Dhabi.
Fire it up, Andre.
Whatever.
Fire it up, man.
Come
Have
on,
at
man.
it. Knock those threes down. WTF moment of the afternoon.
Most of what we do say in that other room has to be watered down when we get on here. It's a little spicier
Until
in there.
overtime.
Yeah.
You can say it in overtime. All right, Super Chats. Let's get to a few of those. Then we'll get to the player of the game, the play of the game. Before we say goodbye for the afternoon, get ready for the Phils game. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, confirms that we absolutely need Grimes. Thanks, Josh.
Honestly, it was one of the things walking out of that game that I was like, you couldn't pay him a little more? Like, just keep him and his agent happy, right? Even if it's not a long term. He very clearly is one of your best two-way players.
Yeah.
So
No, and remember when we had that conversation about starting? Like, no, he's got to start. I don't care if you got to go small and maybe start VJ and him together. Like, I'd rather that than having so many non-shooters on the floor right now. Like, you need some shooting. You need some ball handling.
Sounds like a shot at Kelly Oubre from Derek right there. On that one,
I didn't mention any names. Come on.
I did. So, another super chat from Davon says, hard to grade Maxey has outplayed Brunson, in my opinion, though.
A lot of the chat today has devolved into what is Maxey showing or not showing, and how much has he grown? Like, I'm not worried. This environment in terms of judging him
for Brunson too, it's whatever. Neither one of them outplayed each other. It's cool.
The second best shooter in the starting lineup right now is Dominick Barlow, who shoots 25% for his career.
Cooking.
And look. You can go back from the moment we launched this channel. Kyle and I were on Tyrese Maxey's passing and his playmaking, and that being like the swing skill for him and a thing that could catapult this team the most. Like, that was the one thing you really had developed. So, like, one of my frustrations I have with people who come in here like, oh, Tyrese isn't a point guard, Tyrese isn't a good enough passer. They act like they have like this unique, novel point that nobody's pointed out. We all understand it would be a lot easier to build a team if he was a true, natural floor
James
general.
Harden level passer.
Absolutely. He's not. And maybe he'll get there someday. He's still pretty young. Yeah, I don't think we've seen him on a trajectory where he's going to be an elite playmaker. But quite frankly, most of the lineups that he has to, I wish we were in overtime right now. Most of the lineups that he has to try to carry without Joel Embiid are just trash from a spacing perspective. So yeah, I agree. His passing isn't good enough. I think if you had this debate in like a respectful way, most people in this channel would agree with you. This is a nonsense lineup in a nonsense basketball game that we do not have to crash out over.
Not yet. Everybody relax.
Look, I might be the president of the – I don't know that this team will ever be good enough with Maxey as the lead guy, right? All last year, Joel out, PG out, going into I've said once he's on this big deal, you're going to start seeing people grade him a lot differently than when he's on a rookie contract. And they should, right? It's a lot. The expectation is different when you're making 20-something pick in the draft money compared to max rookie extension money, right? So I hold Tyrese to a high standard, and I have a lot of skepticism as they potentially pivot out of the Joel era and whatever happens there. I get it. We should be scrutinizing Tyrese. In terms of what matters from this game, zero. There is nothing for me to learn about Tyrese Maxey from this game and these last two games in general. We will get to those moments soon enough.
If you are panicking over Maxey's performance in this slop, then you are just looking for anything to try to make yourself feel like
it's
you were
agenda
right. You
pushing.
just want to say, I was
is.
right. That's all you're doing.
That's all it is.
Puppa's Super Chat, you guys should give some lessons to the team on turn it up and performing consistently. Much love.
Thank you, Puppas.
Much love back to you. Thank you.
An easier time for him to tune into, I bet.
Yeah.
Yep. So thanks as always, Puppas. Really appreciate it. Before we get to all the stuff there with the player of the game who we've talked about, but we're going to show him some love in the preseason. We'll do that. We'll give the play of the game. We'll give our roll call. But we do want to say on the way out for a little quick overtime here on a Saturday afternoon. We're going into overtime here on allphly.com. Thank you on the television side. Really appreciate you hanging out with us on Saturday. It's beautiful out, and you spent time with us for a little bit of your Sunday afternoon, and we greatly appreciate it. So if you want to continue with the show, head on over to allphly.com. Also on Monday, all week, we'll be back at 3 p.m. There's a game on Friday. We'll do our post-game show on Friday. Rich and I and Bree, Kyle and Derek will be at the arena, so we'll do all of that. So just to give a quick early scheduling update for next week, Monday through Thursday, 3 o'clock, and then on Friday we have a post game as the Sixers are back home for a preseason game, I believe, against the Orlando Magic for that one. And with that, we want to say thanks again for the 50K. Continue to hit the like button overall for us, and make sure you tune into the PHLY Phillies later on for the pre and the post. Eagles tomorrow, pre, halftime, and post as well. Right here, all of it exclusively at the PHLY network, and we thank you. All right, let's get to the player of the game, Bree. Jabari Walker getting the nod. We think he had 10 points. And he got 10 points. Bree is right. 10 points, 1 block. 2 assists.
It like for anyone who is not caught up on this, it's like happened to be coming in late. The box score and the scoreboard were broken for 2.5 quarters of this game. So even in the recap that I did, I was like, I think they shot poorly, but it's all vibes based. We're only judging it based on what I think I saw. You don't realize how much you're relying on. Did he shoot this from the field?
ESPN still has the final score, but zeros all the way down across the board for both
box
teams.
score says they shot 43% from 3.
It didn't feel like that. But again, I do think some of that was like late game stuff that didn't really matter.
They were bad early.
It was fun going through it because they were throughout the fourth quarter. You could see them like adding line by line into the play-by-play, but from like a quarter before that. So like you would see them add it to the play-by-play, then it would get added to the box score, and you could see them like incrementing the box score by 2 points, but it was from stuff that happened 20 minutes ago. And they're just slowly getting caught up. So even now, we know it's not right because Andre Drummond only has 1 3-point attempt. We showed you the second one, and gave you a screenshot of it. It was a tough game to follow. It was preseason form from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it was. So everybody's still in preseason form.
The odds of that shot clock not working at the Wells Fargo Center on Friday feels like it's like at least 70%.
No.
They're too good. I'm not betting on them. I'm saying they'll be ready.
This happens a lot.
They'll be ready.
But good job, Jabari Walker, player of the game.
Player of the game. You get a nod here in preseason. And the play of the game came from one young VJ Edgecombe. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but the play was made in the first quarter, and it was a phenomenal one. The pass from Tyrese Maxey to Edgecombe. Again, a little off balance there from Jalen Brunson. The young guy gets the ball, and he attacks the rim, closeout, finish, dunked it.
Love to see that.
I really hope, because he's talked a lot about how spacing in college is awful. I really hope that catch and shoot 3 translates pretty quickly because he's going to get a lot of these if it does.
If they start to fall, yes, that will open up. So the play of the game tonight, Tyrese Maxey to VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe, good decision. Drive to the basket. Nice flush there.
Papa said, I may have pissed off the neighbors when this happened.
As you should.
We love excitement in the preseason. We just don't need to be making declarations about anyone's.
But we love the excitement of the missed dunk in game 1.
Oh, yeah.
So for him to make this one over Anunoby smartly just like, I'll jump a little bit, but I'm not really trying to contest it. It's the preseason.
Yeah.
But nice finish.
You don't need to end up on a poster because of the preseason. That doesn't.
Nah, not at all. So before we get to the roll call and say goodbye, Mailbag Monday on Monday. I'd imagine a lot of those questions will be about what we've seen over these 2 days, so I can't wait to see what you guys send us. If you are not a PHLY Discord member, you got to go sign up to become a diehard member to do so. And as you do, Bree, is the sale still going on? I don't even. All right, well, go sign up to become a diehard member at allphly.com. You can read Kyle's recap. You can read Derek's piece on Quentin Grimes after he officially took the qualifying offer coming back to the Sixers. How? Did you include? I know you did.
It is still $36 with the shirt, $59 with the hat.
Bang. There you go. Full access to premium content, events, merch, discounts, and more. Don't wait. The hats will sell out fast because there's a limited quantity. Derek did preview the hat on the show last week. Kyle will do so, I'm sure, soon as well. So will I. So will Bree.
I couldn't do the multiple types of greens today.
Well,
it
all right.
I probably won't be wearing mine for hopefully about solid month because I plan on wearing Phillies hats until that run is over.
There you go. Make sure you go.
It's nothing to do with the quality of the hat that I got. It's wonderful. It's just not a Phillies.
But if you just simply want to support the Phillies via PHLY, pick the shirt and you get your Durantula shirt. Maybe we'll see a lot of those saves throughout the postseason. And you get that by becoming a member, $36 limited edition shirt there for the sign up, becoming an all PHLY member and part of the Discord as well. So we appreciate everybody. Go sign up to become a diehard member at allphly.com. And when you are a member and you want to send questions for Mailbag Monday, you can do so by signing up there. So if you are a member and you want to send in some questions for the mailbag starting now, you go to the Discord and you send in some of those questions. Got a separate
mailbag channel.
There you go. You can use that, submit those questions, and maybe your question will be a part of our show on Monday. You can also send them at PHLY_Sixers, Kyle's Twitter account, at Kyle Newbeck, Derek at Derek Bodner, NBA as well. Make sure you send those questions in for a Mailbag Monday starting at 3 p.m. on Monday afternoon following 2 Phillies wins and a Birds win. Think so. Feel pretty good about that. That'd be nice.
I'm perpetually nervous, especially about baseball.
It's playoff baseball. How
First
could
of all,
you not?
it's a combination of respecting the Dodgers and respecting the randomness of baseball or fearing the randomness of baseball. I'm very confident about the Phillies, but the Dodgers and random always concerns me.
Red October, baby. It'll have
It's
you
the
all.
biggest reason I can't get into baseball. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, we have the better team, but I hit the ball really hard right at the guy for 5 games, and it's like nothing you can do. It's like, that's stupid, man. I can't deal with that. I don't. Intellectually, I just have a real problem with that. Like, you're better than these guys. Just win.
Just win.
Go Phils, though.
Go Phils, says Kyle. All right, everybody, let's say it for a Saturday afternoon. It's the world famous. We want to tell you to enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's the roll call.
How about a roll call, everybody? Thank you for being here on a Saturday afternoon. Phillies baseball coming tonight. Eagles football tomorrow. Big sports weekend. We got the Union going for what is it they call the trophy when you're supporter shield? I think it is when you're the number 1 team in the league.
I'll go with that.
Yeah,
I think
I'll
that's
trust
it.
you on this one.
I don't watch MLS, so I watch
think it
real
is.
soccer.
Oh,
I think it is. I think it is.
Send that hate mail over to
I'm
Kyle,
just messing
please.
around.
I think it is
Anyway.
the supporter shield.
Kyle Newbeck on Twitter.
Oh, stop it. Thank you to Theo. Thank you to Davon
What up,
and
Davon?
Puppas for the super
We
chats.
really appreciate it, gang.
Thank you to both of you. Thank you to B Knight, to Money Mar,
Mar, what up?
Val, SB Cole,
What up,
DC
Val?
Marley, Liam Stevens. You better love somebody.
Better love somebody. Love somebody.
Cy, Mom's Grandchildren, Walter Phillips, Phil W.
Phil
with a
W. Kelly.
Quick pop in. Thank you to Hedfa. Thank you to Rob Brown, to Tom Jackson, Philly Sheriff.
Tommy.
Dahlin, who was very active today. Luther Jones, Philly Dog, Joaquin from Cherry Hill.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Wallace, member of the Supporters Club, checking in. Martian Lynch, Citizen X,
Wallace.
Will Money. Thank you, everybody who was here. We're getting out of here nice and quick today.
Yes, we are.
On your way out, as Devon already asked, please hit the like
It
button.
was a 70-minute show. What do you mean nice and quick?
It makes all of it. The roll call was quick.
all right.
Hit the thumbs up button. Stop interrupting me to say thank you to Bree behind the glass and to make all of us very happy here. It makes us all feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Thanks, Joaquin.
When we
Congrats
see a lot
to
of
you.
thumbs up on the video. And look, we ask you all the time to hit the subscribe button. We're up over 50,000 subscribers now, as Devon said at the top of the show. Nice round milestone for all of us here, but the road to 100K begins now. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't before. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. We will be back on Monday for a Mailbag Monday and for shows the rest of the week. More preseason basketball, more previews, more predictions. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Go Birds, go Phils, go Union, and we'll see you on Monday. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.